almost forgotten. And when we made this movie, we laughed so much, and we all had a shared experience, and we wanted to just do something joyous. And so I guess I would hope that people felt joy from it, and just the laughter aspect to me is just so important. It just seems like we don't get so much of it, and we have to fight for it because it's very healing for me to laugh and have those feelings. Yes, but laughter.
And Steve, parting thoughts?
Parting thoughts, not really parting thought. I feel like the movie did find its audience actually. Yeah. I feel like it sort of snuck under the obvious sort of signposts and kind of found its community and found its people for whom it is the only movie that opened in 2021. Yeah. And so there's like this really sacred sort of community of the Barb and Star viewers that we should celebrate that thing that not everybody shares, not everybody knows about, that's like special in a way that the movies that are celebrated aren't special the same way.
It's a cult hit. Well, thank you guys all so much for being here.
Thank you all so much for being here.
Richard, come down.
LA Film Critics Association Award for Best Production Design of 2021!
Respond to the movie the way you did is the best possible gift. That's great.
Thank you guys. Thank you. Okay, so the topic of the Talking Club is Barb and Star go to VISTA Del Mar. Annie, you earned every second of that standing O. That was amazing. Yes. I just need to know the origin story of these ladies, but also the origin of this script. Like, how long had these characters been living with you and Kristen, and how did you know that, like, we're gonna make, like, the wackiest, most joke-dense script possible?
Ooh, that's a lot. That's a lot
to answer there.
Yes. For some reason, these women lived inside of us since we were like 20 years old. We at first thought it was like, we're being our moms, or we're, we had all these reasons, and then as time has gone on, I've realized more and more that I think it's more write what you know. I'm Barb. I can't get out of Costco once I go through the doors. There's just a lot of that actually ended up coming from us. But when we were writing Bridesmaids, we had a lot of, thank you. I'm gonna cry. We had a lot of, we went on a few tangents. When we went off task a lot, we would get the giggles, and we were writing scenes for Maya's character, for Lillian, and every time we had a scene with Lillian, we ended up on these tangents with Lillian's mom, just talking about, like, where'd you go? Oh, that beach cape is out of sight. I got it at Costco. I mean, we just would go on, and then Judd Apatow, our producer, would say, why stop it? This has nothing to do with the movie. So we laughed and like, oh, one day we're gonna make a movie about these ladies, kind of as a joke. And then, when you go through the studio writing process, it's a very difficult process. The notes, there's a lot of years and years of notes and interpreting notes. And so after we had done that a few times, we thought, it just kind of one day we're like, what if we just wrote those two ladies? And I think initially it was like, Barb and Star go to St. Bart's. And we were like, oh my God, we're gonna write about that. And we actually thought, let's just write it on our own. We spent about 6 or 7 days and just vomited this thing out, and then we didn't really know what it was. We had a table read with some friends, just like a dinner thing, and we were like, oh, this is, we like this. But we had no idea, if it was anything. So but then Kristen and I were, I can't really remember how we gave it to someone, and they were like, yeah, let's do it. It was a studio person. And then they took the script, and then they said, yeah, we want to do it. And we were like, oh my gosh, this is crazy, a movie with Barbara Starr. And they gave us some notes, and we did our rewrite, and then they gave it back to us and said, we don't know what to do with this, we're giving it back to you, goodbye. And then we took it out again, and we went all around, and we went to Lionsgate eventually, and Lionsgate we were so lucky. They literally let us make the movie that we set out to make from the very beginning, which is just a very rare thing. It's such a difficult thing. It's just rare to have that happen. So, and then that's where it sort of started, but and then we met Josh. Josh, that's a whole story of,
it's a long story.
Sorry, that's very long-winded, April, but.
And Josh, this is your first narrative film, right? And you had worked in documentary before. At the time, tell us how you even crossed paths with Kristen and Annie, and what it had that something to do with James Bond?
Yes. So I made a documentary, I think it was my third feature doc called Becoming Bond, which is about this guy named George Lazenby. Thank you for that one clap. Thank you, Mom. And I didn't realize it, but I had a small screening, and Jessica Elbaum, who's one of our producers on this film, came to that screening and brought Kristen Wiig. And I did not know Kristen at the time, was a huge fan. And Kristen loved the film, and as I was walking out of that screening, I didn't even know she was there. She walked up and said, "That was incredible. I want to work together. We should have lunch." And I just was like, "Oh, okay, great." Thinking it's totally a Hollywood thing. I'm never gonna see her again. And a week later, I got a call, and a week later, I was having lunch with her, and she was pitching me this movie for, I'm not exaggerating, I think 3 hours, maybe 3.5 hours. And I was having a little hard time because she was jumping in and out of all the characters. But I was like, this sounds incredible. I desperately want to be a part of this, and was such a huge fan of Annie and Kristen's and Bridesmaids. And so then they sent me the script, and I do think the first one I got was, I want to say pretty long. It was
like
amazing.
270 pages.
Yeah, no, I think it was like 100.
They went on all over the
lot.
world.
It was like maybe 140 something pages. But it was awesome and so funny. And then we, at one point, we were at a studio. We were at Sony, and honestly, thank you to them for letting go of it and saying, you know what, we're not going to make this, because they don't always do that. And then we took it around. We spent a lot of time at Annie's house, the three of us, Kristen, Annie, and I, just working on the script, and that was probably my favorite part of the whole thing, was just watching the two of them, magic just pour out of them every day. And by the way, I know we gave her a standing ovation. How good is Annie? It's so amazing. She's so good. And Kristen, who is also, we should shout out, who played two characters. She's just not here right now. It's amazing. But Annie, that was what you got to experience there of watching her was like, I was just in a living room watching her and watching Kristen bounce off of each other like little kids and get excited. And I felt like I tended to be the grown-up in the room, kind of like being like, okay, that's amazing, but where does that fit in our story? And,
Usually nowhere.
Yes.
Usually it would be like, that doesn't go anywhere.
Yes. Yeah.
That's kind of like the magic of the script, is that there's all these weird little asides and random things, and that's what makes it so fun.
We cut 80% more things. We had to really bring it down, because we did, thanks to Josh.
The opening of the movie wasn't there like a bear family playing
Yes,
out on the front yard?
There was a bear family in the first draft.
Yes. And then there was an old tiny...
They said we have too many animals. Yes, there was an old timey...
Why was that in there?
Because when he was riding his bike down the street, we had a whole thing of all the families he was passing. It was just getting crazier and crazier. It was like an old-timey family getting into a a carriage and riding off, and then the last one was a bear family.
Playing like throwing the football.
There was a really old lady just like lifting a giant boulder. That was one of them. They were like, "What? Why are you?"
And there were things, by the way, that crazy that we also shot, and Steve built full sets for.
2 major
Yes.
sequences.
Yes.
Josh has heard me say this before. I'm waiting for the DVD. Remember when there were DVDs that came out? We could actually get the deleted scenes. So there is an extended sequence where Darlie Bunkle meets Edgar at pasta and stuff.
Pasta and stuff. Yeah.
This Italian restaurant.
God, it was such a.
That everything goes wrong, and it's like a Rube Goldberg consistent sort of mousetrap game of him losing the transistor and then getting.
And Edgar was forced to wear a costume that Darlie provided, where he has a Hulk Hogan wig and a Tylenol T-shirt.
Yeah.
Was that the wig? Yeah, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, that was Tylenol.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
There's this other whole sequence in the glass bottom boat. You see the girls running towards the glass bottom boat sign, and then they run down the pier, and then there was this 10-minute sequence of the glass bottom boat. With
Sorry.
Buzz and Luke sort of interactions.
And Steve built both of those sets.
It was
Sets that, and a lot of our skinny little budget is devoted to those things. I am dying for the rough cut.
Okay, Criterion
I'll send it
Collection.
to you.
Are you listening? Can you hear my prayer?
Theatrical re-release and Criterion.
Yes. So you kind of segued into it, but how did you come on board? Did you get the script? Like, did you know his work? How was this? And did you say, yes, I can make a coastal Florida fantasy come to life?
A primary agent sent it to me, and I saw a script that had no bears in it. I didn't know Josh, I didn't know his work, but here came a script that was like a full-blown Broadway musical on screen, and my whole background, my whole sort of juju is about something that feels like a musical, and here it was, and as hysterically funny as this movie was, it also had this incredibly important deep part, and it was like you could laugh and laugh and laugh, and suddenly there was the scene of the 2 women in their bedroom, and I remember when we shot that scene, and it was heartbreakingly sad. It was so emotional. So this was sort of the magic script that had the crazy stuff, the Broadway musical opening of Palm Vista Hotel, and it also had, as if Ken Adam had designed a new James Bond sequence. So you had these worlds that you're just waiting to get your hands dirty with, to get into. So we sat.
Yeah, and we had an amazing meeting. I was gonna just give a shout out, because in the script for her name, by the way, the villain's name is Sharon Gordon Fisherman. It's never uttered. So Sharon Gordon Fisherman's lair in the script just said something like a cool lair, some candle lights, and a bearskin rug, and a red living room with bears, and that's all it said. And then Steve came to our first meeting with like this massive layer, and I was like, yes.
There's just not a scene that passes in the movie without something of Steve's that just, the shark painting when they walk into the bad hotels. I mean, there's so many, Sharon Gordon Fisherman's phone. I always just stare at that phone, I'm like, what? Wait, Steve, what? It's like a giant tube.
Annie and Kristen had sort of devised these things completely out of whole cloth in their heads, and I think it never became a reality. Even all the prep that we did and the sketches and stuff that we shared, I think you guys were sort of like, they're never going to actually do it, are they?
Yeah, no, that we're like, we were made for each other. We were literally like, see the stuff and just be like, I'm fall over.
The most fun we ever had was opening the set, each new set, Josh and for Annie and Kristen to sort of see it, because you never got glimpses. We were working too fast. We had a really tight schedule. We had 3 weeks in Cancun that we started with, and that was in the middle of July.
Yeah.
And it was 100-degree days every single
Which is a perfect segue, Annie.
Is to Miss Liz Lash, who was our makeup
Our makeup artist. Stand up, Liz.
artist, incredible dynamo. Stand up, Liz. Oh my God.
You know, this is a great opportunity to shout out.
This, just really quick, I just gotta say, this woman had to pull off the impossible. It was 98 degrees in Cancun in the summer, wigs, makeup, heat stroke.
Yeah.
Everybody had E. coli poisoning. I mean, and Liz
That's not a
was
joke.
running around at one point, not even, it was just like,
The first
are you
day-
all right?
The first day I called Jamie Dornan when he got there, I was like, we gotta work on this, we gotta rehearse your dance sequence. And he's like, mate, I can't. And I was like, what? He's like, my stomach. He's like, I shouldn't do any leaping.
Yeah.
It was a tough on our stomachs.
was tough.
But Liz was incredible. There's a couple other people we do want to shout out who are here. Where is Ian Gomez, the boss of
Oh,
the...
he played
Is
Ian.
he still
Good
here?
for
Ian,
you.
please stand up. Ian Gomez is the boss. And also Andy Carter, the best man. And also, a man who loves boobies is here, Richard Cheese. Please stand up.
So many wonderful guests here tonight, so many special people, all of you in your costumes. If you're wearing a costume, can you please stand up?
Yes, please.
Right here.
Yes.
We're gonna have a costume contest! Oh my God, Sharon's here!
Literally the exact.
I know I saw some screen accurate costume pieces out there. There's in the background, she's got the exact bracelet, the sharp bracelet.
Oh, be careful, it's very
Oh
sharp.
my gosh, where did you?
Very sharp.
That's what they say, but we have to shout out to Tracy Fielder.
Yes.
Tracy Fields. I mean, there's yeah, there's a lot of. Everyone on this movie really had to go.
Oh, wait,
1,000%.
Jonathan McCoy I saw here. Where are you?
What?
Stand up. He's our line producer. He did an incredible job. Never gets things. He did an amazing job.
We have so many great people who are involved in the film here, but we also have some film students here from Palisades High School. Where are you guys? Yeah. Oh, yay! Thank you guys for coming. We're so excited you're here. Lots of great people to learn from up on stage, so.
Steve, there's a question I've had since the first time I watched this, because you infuse so many amazing details in every single set, whether or not, we linger too long. So in the beginning of the movie, Sharon Gordon Fishman has a cow in her lair. What becomes of that cow?
Well, you may have noticed that there are throw cushions in cowhide. and then Sharon, she sort of gives her backstory, sitting in the chair, this cowhide back. But originally, I talked Josh into us there was an ID with the number of the cow attached to the cow's ear, and I had those IDs still attached to the cow cushions. We actually deleted them because I think it would have been too much to explain to the audience.
Didn't we have, and then we had to get a real cow, obviously, for that opening scene. Didn't we run into something where, because we were in Mexico City, we got the cow and it showed up, it was tiny. And then you were like, no, that's because down here they don't inject all their cows with steroids. This is like what a normal cow looks
Cow
like.
is
It was
this
too
big.
small.
Cow is
They're
this
this
big.
big. Real cows are like this big.
We had a stand-in
Tiny
cow. We had a taxiderm cow for the stand-in so that we could have the cow not work too many hours.
Right, that's right. That's right. Identical twin cows.
I'm curious if, Steve, you have a favorite set that you built, or just a fun visual gag, or something that you really is very special to you in this movie.
No, well, definitely the lady's lair. Dr. Lady was the name of the character for the duration of our shoot. Her lair was something that we sort of knew in our bones was going to be bigger, Wagnerian, way over the scale of the rest of our movie. And so we wanted to sort of touch earth, fire, water, air, all in one space. So even though there's this lagoon that she lives on, there are fire slots in the walls all around so that the fire would reflect on the lagoon. And it took Toby Oliver, our amazing DP, a lot of work to figure out what we ended up with people paddling in the water so that the water would send up its caustic patterns on the walls in just the right sort of degree. So that was one that was very late in the shoot. We were back in Mexico City. We had like 3.5 weeks to do all the stage work in Mexico. And then we were off to Albuquerque, New Mexico for the bits of exterior.
Where it was
Colorado.
much better because it was 105 degrees.
Yeah.
But a dry heat.
The scene at the pool, remember, I actually had a flashback of like sense memory where we're sitting at the pool in the what do you want to call it? Rough
motel.
motel.
The motel.
When we stood up, we really did we almost passed out. But we were so used to it we're like, I'm passing out, it's okay. But I have a favorite of yours, which is the bar. It on screen, you couldn't even see everything that Steve did in the bar when we first drink the drink. Our Celine Dion moment. And Steve, we went into the hotel beforehand, and it was like, oh, this is where we're gonna shoot it.
It was an all-white space.
Yeah.
There's no color in the space at all.
No color until the next day. We walked in and it was just like flamingos everywhere, and these giant. It was so incredible. I took so many things from that. I stole them and I use them for my home decor. It's in my house. I was like taking plates
and
and
detachable piece of the bar because I was saying I wanted to do this the Spike Lee zoom, the dolly where you put your actor on the dolly. But I was like, I need it with 3 people and I need a piece of the bar. And so he built like a matching piece of that bar. So that shot when they go through after the, what's the drink called? The Buried Treasure. Thank you. It's like a call and response. It was amazing.
Right, everybody assumes that that's a CG comp effect. That's absolutely in camera. And the other sequence that's absolutely in camera that nobody believes is them floating down on their.
That's true.
We really did.
They were
the
Kristen and Andy.
culottes. Our culottes really inflated. And
But
turned
they
into
did do
parachutes.
that stunt. They were rigged up, 75 feet in the air.
Yeah.
And just floated down. We raced the line.
We were really high up.
Cables. That was it.
Very proud of you that day. By the way, we were trying to remember stories because it's been 5 years, and Andy and I were texting last night. I was like, let's remember some stories. And I was like, I don't remember one. She's like, oh, I know one. So there's a scene it's not even in the movie anymore, where during her montage where she's like finding herself and riding on her moped and jumping the Grand Canyon, she at one point, Kristen had wrote this thing where I think you were supposed to dive off a cliff, but then you come up out of the water with a fish in your mouth.
Yeah.
And so we shoot this, in the lagoon in Cancun. And you can probably tell from your perspective.
Well, we were, again, it was hot. So it was the end of the day, and it was the sun setting, and all I thought about all day was, I'm gonna get in this ocean, I am gonna swim. I was thinking about it all day. And then we got to the scene, it was sun setting, and I just swan dived into the water, and I was backstroking out. And then we get to the thing, and they have a ladder mounted, and you're gonna go under and catch this fish and come up. So we did one take of it, and it was like a rehearsal. And Josh was like, that was great, you were done. And I was like, what? I just got here, wait, can we do more? Because I wanted to stay in the water. And also, I kind of felt like I should at least do one more to make it the best it can be. Josh was like, no, we're good, get out. That was great. I was kind of disappointed. I was like, gee, okay, well, that's what happens when you get the last scene of the day.
There was
And then
not
a couple
one.
weeks later,
Yeah, I told her this 3 weeks later. I could not
Josh,
tell her
like
this
3 weeks
thing.
later,
There
he's like,
was
I have
not
an
one,
apology.
Not 2, 3 alligators, like 15 feet from her. It's like in the footage, and it was so scary. Like so scary. But the problem was,
They were
this
like,
was
Todd
the
was
lagoon
like,
side,
get
they're
out.
not in the ocean side. But she had all these other scenes in the ocean. I was like, I can't tell her that right now. She'll never get in the ocean again. So I told her on the last day of when we finished shooting the ocean. By the way, remember how scared Kristen was?
Oh, yeah,
Kristen's so
Kristen
scared of the
doesn't like
ocean.
the
When she jumped in, she had to have our stunt guy would jump in and then hold her because she's afraid of like fish getting her feet. So
He would have to
every
hold
take she
her
would get,
like
I
a
would look
baby.
over
He would
Kristen,
cradle
held like a
her in
baby
the water.
by our stunt.
Yeah.
I thought it was a bit. I was like, no, it's not a bit.
It's in my contract.
She was very scared. She's very scared of the ocean. Yeah, that was.
There are a
We
lot
swam
of
in the lagoon side of Cancun.
amazing little creatures. The crab is one, I think,
Yes.
that a lot of people think is CG, but
No, it is fully puppeted by 2 wonderful British puppeteers who, when we called, they were like, yeah, we have a crab. Like, they haven't gotten a call in a long time. I was like, no, I definitely want you guys. They dug a 6-foot hole. So one of them is under and then we put a plywood over the top and sand. So one of the puppeteers is literally buried in the beach underneath it. And the other one, there's like cables that I think one does the claws and one does the body or the eyes, I forget. But they did an awesome job. And I love, again, I love practical effects, not just for, I think, the experience for you guys, but it's so much better for Kristen in that scene to be able to look at this puppet who's actually performing and acting it out. But yes, Morgan Freeman, R.I.P. With a D, not Morgan. Morgan Freeman is still with us.
We do have to talk about Mr. Jamie Dornan and casting him because you say you have to play like a henchman, bad guy, spy type, but you also have to dance really well and sing really well and do comedy. Like, did you know he could be funny?
Admittedly, at the start, when I just heard his name, no, because I just was like, oh, I'd seen him in, is it The Fall, where he's like the really...
Fall, where he was the serial...
Yeah, really well done. And so I knew he's a really good dramatic actor, but we set up a Zoom, and then within 5 minutes or 5 seconds of talking to him, I was like, oh, this guy's really funny. He's got a sense of humor, he understands how to play it, which is straight. You play the drama, you play it straight, you're not playing for laughs. What was really funny though about the song and the Jamie dance number was, again, like The Lair, the script just said that he signed off for, like, Edgar sings an emotional ballad. And then it just moves on. So he fully forgot about it. And didn't really, and then I was saying day 1 when he arrived, I was like, we gotta get you in rehearsals for all this. He couldn't because of the E. coli previously mentioned. It wasn't E. coli then, it was just Montezuma.
Shigella? Oh, yeah. It was all kinds of...
It was all, it was hard. But, but then he did he did an amazing job. And that is him singing also. He's got an incredible voice. We did karaoke with him, and remember that?
Yes.
It was really
The
great.
things he has to say in this movie.
I mean, what about I made lawnmowers for Honda? So good.
The part we cut, but like he was leaning in, he was like, why am I wearing a shirt that says Tylenol on it? Like, so serious. He just, everything he, yeah, that was a lucky thing that happened there. We were very lucky.
did you have in mind elaborate backstories for characters like Edgar, in addition to Barb and Star? Like all of the ladies in Talking Club, I just want to know all of their stories. Their lives.
They all have stories. Every single one of them.
When it came to casting,
We actually, oh my God, we had to cut so much of that. Remember, that was part of the length problem. That scene went on forever.
there's more Talking Club?
Oh, there was so much Talking Club.
A lot of talking.
Oh, it went on forever and ever and ever. And they were like, do you remember? They were like, you have to cut the Talking Club scene, and we had conversations about that, and we were like, please, can we keep it? And they were like, it's 25 pages. It's something crazy, and we're like, because it's
By the
talking.
way,
There
I
was
do
a
want to
lot
give
to talk about.
This might be one of your future questions, but one of my favorite things to point out is, people always ask, is a lot of improv, is a lot of improv, and in fact, it's not. It's a lot of, it's scripted. Now, what did happen is Annie and Kristen would improv in the room with me that we were writing the script and put it in the script. But on the day, it wasn't a lot of improv. But my favorite thing about their writing is from the very first draft that was very long that I got, and then we did a lot of drafts all along the way. I don't think one word changed of the Trish sequence, ever, ever. It never changed, and it's exactly how you see it. I'm like, I love that. It's just brilliant. Yeah.
I'm amazed that you didn't have a series of screenings with audiences to find, what parts of the thing were really clicking and what were sort of lying flat. You just had to go blind with your own instincts.
We were also like learning on Zoom how to be on Zoom at that point when we had to remote edit the movie. We were all in different places and we had to like learn to like log on to this thing called Zoom, remember? And we had to and we would get on and have all of us together trying to figure out and
I remember my color VFX sessions. This was early COVID. Each of us was in a theater on like walkie-talkies with each other, and it was like, all right, you see the thing in the upper left? No, further to the upper left. That needs to be more blue. Which part? No, the what? It was really bad.
Yeah,
That's terrible. Anyway.
Well, I think just to wrap things up, I'm curious, for all three of you, this movie has had a really interesting journey, and I love that it has been able to be celebrated in person tonight, but what do you hope the legacy of Barb and Star is, or its future might be? How do you feel about it now, and just sort of like what we hope for them?
Sequel!
Way musical.
Yeah.
You gave an interview where you said that there had been a sequel idea floated, right?
oh gosh, it's gotta, we've gone over like it's gotta be something that rhymes with
Yeah.
Barb and Star.
The star go to very far to Mars. No,
They go to-
Pyramids of Qajar.
Oh yeah, the pyramids of Qajar. They go to the outdoor market there, and they go shopping, they get
The
samples.
bazaar.
The bazaar. They go to the bazaar. That's right.
Yeah.
It's there's so many fun ideas that you could think of. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's a tough question. I honestly, this night was just so unbelievably magical for me, and I know for Steve and for Annie. And it was really, thank you. Yeah. Thank you guys, and I hope that my hope for it, I guess a couple hopes. I think one is I was optimistic that I could help bring comedy back into theaters. I'm not going to give up that fight. I hope you guys go out and support that. We need that. And yeah, I hope it inspires, the next generation of Kristen and Annie's to be like, wow, we should just make the movie we want to make because we need more of that. And then, I think lastly, it's funny because I was watching this and I've been now for the last 6 months touring with my documentary, Will and Harper, which played a trailer before. Thank you. But it's just interesting because I was like, oh, I've now done, a couple, and I've done a couple other films that are very centered on friendships. And it was just hit me tonight while I was sitting here of how important and powerful really good friendships are. And so I hope it just celebrates that. And I'm incredibly grateful for the friends I made making this film, some of whom we shouted out here, and Steve and Annie. So I don't know, I guess hug and love your friends is I hope the message you get from it.